What is the deal, beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ramon, and around here we talk about any and everything photography. In today's video, we'll be discussing a lot of pain points that I had in my creative work and my professional work as a photographer, and ultimately what led to me putting myself on a, let's call it a photography detox.
1, 2, get down. Get down. 2, 1, 2, get down.
The first piece really was in my creative work. The pandemic was in full swing, and much like everyone else, it was a period where everything sort of just paused, and you had a crap ton of time to reassess and rethink and reevaluate what's important, what's not important, X, Y, and Z. But for me, because I had so much downtime, I wanted to allocate a lot of this newfound time to my photography. And I kept coming up with like various roadblocks, and it was, let's call it noise. It was a crap ton of noise around everything I went to do. Like at the time we were still living in Brooklyn, so I wanted to grab the camera and go to Coney Island, and then it was like, well, which camera? Is it gonna be my Sony A7 with the 50mm lens with my 28-75? Am I gonna grab a 70-210, or is it gonna be my Olympus, super small, super sharp lenses? I can do some very dope work with light and light composition when it comes to Olympus, or is it gonna be my Fuji? Like, am I gonna go with just like the super urban vibe that you get from the film recipes of Fuji? And also, let's be honest, because I love Fuji, the feedback and feel of using that actual camera. Yeah, so I quite didn't like that. I mean, ultimately, I did all of the above, right? I went out multiple times, and I'm still really culling over a project that I'm putting together about Coney Island, and I might have to go back and revisit a few more times to sort of cap it off. But nonetheless, I did all of the above. But then there was like a whole nother like, well, now that I'm back home and I'm post-processing, like, do I post-process? Like, I don't need to touch these Fuji images, right? Because the JPEGs are so beautiful out the camera with the film simulations. But what about the images I shot on Olympus and Canon and Sony? Like, how do I get those to match? And is there gonna be any cohesiveness with the color work and the vibe of these images in a final project? Like, and that became annoying. Like every way I went, and even like, well, where am I gonna post this? How am I gonna share with the world that I'm excited about this potential project? Am I gonna post it on Instagram to get 2 views and 1 like? Why am I worried about 2 views and 1 like? Like, I've already done the super satisfying part. Why do I allow someone else's validation to invalidate how I feel and felt about my art? So yeah, there was all this noise around my creative work that I knew I had to get rid of. And then when it came to my professional work, much less so, but it still existed. How do you edit these images for clients? Professional portraits or portraiture or even event photography. Are my whites white enough? Am I making the models look plastic enough? Should I even be doing frequency separation and skin smoothing in? And it was just a bit too much noise. During the detox and a lot of thought and a lot of energy, there were 3 main points that I arrived to that really helped me counterbalance this feeling and this frustration. Number 1 was gear, right? Like, if you guys are new to the channel, you may not know, but I am a huge enthusiast of camera and camera technology, be it whatever manufacturer, be it cameras or cell phone, computational photography. Like, I love it all. And because of this, I own quite a few cameras and camera systems. So for my professional work, I've got a Sony A7 II. It's not the newest, but it gets the job done in a beautiful way. And I've also got various other Sony mirrorless cameras. I've got a Fuji X-T2 that's mainly for my street photography, but I quite love what the film recipes do to portraiture in general, and also the tactile feel of using a Fuji. And I also have Olympus, someone who used to live in New York City, and I used to commute every day on the train. The size of Olympus cameras really offered a lot to me because I could keep really a myriad of lenses in my backpack with zero cost to weight or space. And so I've got an EM5 and an EM10. I've got a 45 millimeter. I've got a 12 millimeter, and I've got the 150 to 300. And if you know anything about Olympus, you times that by 2. So I've got a lens that I walk around with every day with a 600 millimeter reach. Nuts. I love Olympus. I don't care what anybody says. I'm shooting this video right now on a Panasonic, another Micro Four Thirds camera. So there's so many cameras around me, and I love them all. And it led to the frustration. So ultimately, when I stepped back, the approach was, okay, I need to jot down in my notes and give purpose to each camera system, and each lens. So, for my professional work, if I'm doing portraiture, if I'm doing engagement, if I'm doing event photography, hands down, my Sony's where it's at. It's a full frame camera. I put a speed light on that. I've got a 28 to 75. It's an old A mount, but it's 28 to 75 f2.8. Beautiful lens. The only downside there is I have to use an adapter to LEA4, but whatever, that works. So that's my professional camera. For street work and creative work, I more so reach for the Fuji, right? For street work, obviously, I've got a ton of film simulations on there. I've got Portra 400. I've got Fuji color. There's a ton of film simulations I run on that. But also, the Fuji lends itself to the vibe and the activity of doing street photography, right? Like all the dials, the everything for the exposure triangles, a tactile dial. So I don't need to look at the camera. I just feel it. I can go on days and days about the Fuji. For sheer portability, the wife and I going to dinner, or the rare chance that I'm commuting, or if I'm out for the day and I need a very light setup, grab an iPad, and I need a camera with me and a bottle of water. This is where the Micro Four Thirds, specifically the Olympus, really shines for me. So by sitting back and thinking a little more involved about the gear I have, I was able to assign specific reasons for each camera and each system, and it helped me a lot versus to tackle the problem of, all right, well, today I want to do such and such. Damn, what camera do I use? I've already figured that out, and I'm very thankful I was able to figure it out, because Lord knows the amount of cameras that I have and gear that I have, if I can't get the shot with any of this shit, I shouldn't be a photographer, right? So there's that. Number 2, post-processing. Yeah, post-processing is an animal. I can honestly tell you, maybe shamefully tell you, that I spent about 2 to 3 years of my early photography career, just diving down the rabbit hole of post-processing, only to learn the excruciating lesson that you have to get it right in camera. There's no amount of post-processing work that's gonna save a shitty picture or a shitty image or a poorly captured moment. That's just not how it works. And even knowing that in mind, it's still this trap of post-processing that you believe, you know, you look at your camera on site and you're in the moment and you've captured this beautiful piece of time that you've frozen for you and yourself, and you want to display it for others and all this beautiful shit. And then there's this piece, I can't wait to get home and fuck it up in post, right? Like it really was a hard lesson for me. And it was only about, I'd say it took me about 2 months to really scrutinize 7 years worth of work. You know, I may have had some good shit, but like it was ruined in post because I was chasing orange and teal color grading and all this other shit. I was crushing blacks, and it's like so much time spent with not the right feeling of a result or reward. And really the way I was able to tame it was give it a reason, give it a job, give it a purpose. So when it comes to the professional work, I'm not going to apply heavy frequency separation to anything I do, right? Not portraiture, not engagement, none of that shit. It's not what you look like. Now, if I was a heavy fashion photographer, then maybe, right? Or maybe a glam, or maybe this is what the client's requesting. But my default disposition should not be to do this. It doesn't mean I won't do some retouching. I won't clean up some blemishes here and there. I won't apply a little bit of skin smoothening, I'm not spending 40, 50, 60 minutes on an image. Like that's just nuts. And then also I'm not putting that shit on my portfolio because I don't want people to see it and then go, this is what he does. Right, so you got to sort of reel that expectation in as well. And then for my creative work, bro, just let the Fuji do what it does. The reason I put so much time into researching recipes for that camera and dialing in the recipes I find and how I like and what I don't like is because it's dope as is. The minute I hit that shutter button, I'm done. If I do any editing to any of that images or those images from my creative work, it's to problem solve, right? Like I may straighten up a composition here or there. I may apply like some lens correction to straighten up some lines. Or I may remove a very distracting piece of an image that I knew was there, but like I wanted to capture the moment and I'll deal with it in post. But it's not to run every image through the fucking mill of orange and teal, black and brown. Like everything's not an Instagram filter, or I don't care about these trends anymore because they're just that, trends. So I was able to really curtail my my post-processing to fit my mood. And now, you know, I don't really do much post-processing, which means I get to spend more time being out, creating, being in the moment. And those images, or my recent images, really do feel much more special to me. Before I list the final point, I want to do a bit of housekeeping here. If you're liking the video thus far, I would really appreciate it if you just hit that like button. Check out the channel. Check out 2 or so more videos. Give me 3. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you. But I have a question for you. Have you ever been in this situation where there's so much noise around your creative process that it really hinders you? For me, one of the key ways to realize it was I would rationalize my way out of not touching my camera. Like, oh man, that's a beautiful sunset. Yeah, but then I gotta do this and I gotta do that. Let me not do it. There'll be another sunset. Oh, it's a beautiful day. I would like to get out and capture such and such. Yeah, but I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I'll do it another day. These were things that I caught on that really was like, no. You know, I should be able to just pick up my camera, my tool, and create. And anything that's really blocking me from doing so, it needs to be gone, right? And And I don't feel like that's something, like I didn't stumble across that feeling. I can't be the first person. I can't be the only person. So I'm wondering, have you guys ever felt that? Have you ever had to put yourself on timeout and detox and let it all flow away and then build it back up? I would love to hear from you in the comment section. If you had, how did you get through it? Right? And if you're currently in it, hopefully this video can help you get through that, because that shit is not cool. The final point was really social media. My God, social media. You know, I've amassed, I think at the peak, I reached up to like 11,000, somewhere close to 11,000 followers on Instagram. And, you know, it was one of those things where you got there and you think, I've hit the milestone. Now I'm going to start looking for 20,000, 200,000, 1 million. Like, I got there and the only thing I got out of it was a bullet point that I checked off as achieved. You know, there really was no real satisfaction in it for me, because it was a shit ton of work. And much like post-processing, social media and gaining traction is also a goddamn rabbit hole. So imagine I've got post-processing over here that's taken away from creating, and I've got social media over here that's taken away from creating. Like, it's not cool. It really wasn't cool. Like, post an image and then like people would comment, and the comments were fine, and you all hear about the dopamine thing, but like, I started to realize people aren't really connecting with the things I'm putting out there the way I'm connecting with it, right? Which sort of brought it all back home. Like, I'm doing this shit for me, fam. This is a hobby. This is a passion. This is an outlet. This is what I choose to do with my time. And as long as I'm looking at these images and I'm satisfied with the results, I'm satisfied with the memories that come up when I look at my images, I couldn't give a fuck who saw it or who didn't see it or who commented or who didn't comment. And it took so long to realize that. But that doesn't mean I don't have an urge to share. Because as an enthusiast, I would love to show you guys, and you may have noticed, I stopped showing samples of my work on YouTube. And I used to get a lot more meaningful comments of the work I would put in slideshows on YouTube versus Instagram. But I'll always send you guys to my website, rtperspective.com. The link's in the description. I chose to put my work there first, and then maybe if I'm feeling like it, I'll put it on Instagram or Vero or wherever the hell I'm supposed to be putting images these days. But I love to earnestly have a geeked out conversation about photography, right? Like, I would love to post, I've got some crazy ass work from the city. I would love to post an image and it's a blue hour and it was really nice sunset, and then you see all the dynamic range, because I bracketed the shit out of these images and I did it in a proper HDR, and I controlled the settings, the white points, the contrast. And I would love for someone to go, yo, you put a lot of work into this image and it's a super strong image. But that's not what happens. What happens is, oh yeah, dope tones, fam. The fuck does that mean? What does that mean? What does that? So like, I am happy to be at a point where like, I don't care to what degree my images are received or by whom. But I still do have a passion to share, so I share my website first. And I urge you guys to drop by my website. I probably post, I guess you can call them blogs, right? I don't really write much, but I do post maybe 2 or so images a week that hasn't been on Instagram or no one has seen. And I do enjoy that, right? Because I myself am digging through my catalog and going through my stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, this was a dope day. I really do like this image, right? So I enjoy that. But nonetheless, these 3 things, which I'm calling my photography detox, have helped me really get back to a much better mental place, to where I'm happy to get out there and create again. I'm happy to do the professional work that I do. I'm happy to sit down here and talk to you guys about this stuff again. I'm happy that there's no noise or hurdles or roadblocks to me just sitting on the couch and getting a stroke of genius idea and then taking a stab at it. Maybe I'll execute it, maybe I won't. I don't know. But fuck it, let's do it. Let's see what happens. Like, I miss that so much. And that's where I am right now. But it took about, I'm not happy to say this, it took a fucking pandemic and about a year for me to figure this out. And knowing what I know now, not that I didn't know anything before, but like being in this current space, I'm holding on to this experience as a tool to make sure that I never end up where I was before, you know, and hopefully I can enjoy a longer stint of just creating without burning out and feeling like, damn, I don't know if I love this anymore, right? Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button. My name is Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace.